Hi, I'm Ben from 6degreesofkosherbacon.com. Thought I'd try the video blog thing again. And so, yeah, here I am. This week I'm discussing Parshas Beshallach. It's kind of ends the Egyptian story with the famous splitting of the Red Sea, the Yam Suf. And it then has some other cool things. It has the manna from heaven. It has a couple of wars, one that's avoided, one we have to fight. But I want to draw attention to a particular part of it that is then referenced in next week's Parsha. There's a connection between these two odd moments in this week's Parsha. So between these two Parshas. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. So as the Jews are in the split Yam Suf, the split Red Sea, the Egyptians chase after them. And so at this point, the Torah says, Pharaoh drew near, and Bnei Yisrael looked up and beheld the Egyptians coming after them. Pretty straightforward. But if you look at it in the Hebrew, there's a little bit of a typo here. It says, Vehine Mitzrim nosea aharehem. Mitzrim, which is plural, but nosea, coming after, is in the singular. And Hebrew has this subject-verb conjugation thing that we don't really see so much in English. But Mitzrim is in Hebrew. It is in plural. It's the Mitzrim, the Egyptians. And Nosea, coming after, is in the singular. It doesn't match up. So this is a little odd. Why does the Torah have a typo? But then we see a similar typo in next week's Parsha, Yisro, right before the Jews are about to get the Ten Commandments from Mount Sinai and all the Torah from Mount Sinai. And so that reads, they journeyed from Rephidim and had come to the desert and camped in the desert. Israel camped there opposite the mountain. So we've got camped a couple of times, being a little redundant. But when it says Israel camped there opposite the mountain, once again, we've got Israel in plural and camped, which is vayichein in the singular, and the question comes up on both of these. So the commentator Rashi points out to both of these and says something about both of them. For the first one, with the Egyptians going into the Red Sea, he says, Belev echad ke'ish echad, with one heart as one man. For the second one, he says, Ke'ish echad, belev echad, as one person with one heart. So what's he talking about here? What's he saying? And the insight is that in both of these instances, both nations are so united, it's as if they were one person. This is the only time in the entire Torah, these are the only two places in the entire Torah where it makes this kind of typo, where it refers to a nation in the plural, but the verb in the singular, to drive home this unity. But however, we've got a difference. There's an important distinction between these two types of unity. We all know unity is one of the most powerful things in the world, if not the most powerful thing in the world outside of God himself. When people come together, they can topple cities, they can make change. Look at the world we're living in right now. The entire entertainment industry is completely being retooled because of the Me Too movement. It's a tremendous amount of unity that's changing everything. We're seeing it in politics. We're seeing it the world over. When people come together, we can do anything. I fully believe that. But we have to be careful with unity, because if unity is done one way, it is extraordinarily progressive and transformative and amazing, and if it's done another way, it's destructive. So we've got the Egyptians. The Egyptians are going into the Yam Suf. And for this, Rashi says, with one heart as one man. With passion, if passion comes first and then unity, that can be a problem. Think about it. The Egyptians, they've just suffered through 10 plagues. They have seen what the Jews' God can do to them. And now you're standing in a phenomenon where the sea is split in front of you. What logical reason What is the best case scenario for what you're trying to do? Why would they go into that water? Why would they go into that split sea? Do you really think that you're going to be able to drag the Jews back with all these miracles around you? I mean, there's a pillar of fire and a pillar of smoke and there's darkness. It literally would make no sense. Even if they managed to drag them back, do you think they're going to serve you? There's no reason to it. But they obviously got swept up in a passion of anger, of despair, of whatever, that the plagues ravaged over them, that they just went headfirst into a catastrophe, and they all died because of it. It wiped out all of the Egyptians, the Yam Suf. That mentality, that mob mentality, we see it in villagers with pitchforks and torches. We see it on Black Friday. We see it after a football game or a baseball game that a city loses and then just goes crazy and loots the city. It makes a riot. It is a completely illogical and destructive unity. However, on the other side, when the Jews get to Mount Sinai, there Rashi says, as one person with one heart. Meaning, they were united at Mount Sinai, not because of a passion, but because of an idea. Ideas can change the world, absolutely. And if you can get a unity behind an idea, the passion can come after that, but the idea has to be sound and solid first. That's something that, though it might get out of hand, at its core is something that will always exist and change the world. Martin Luther King, civil rights, freedom, women's rights. These are ideas that we all know are good once we've seen them. And they started massive movements, but it was all from an idea. And so we see here with the Jews, when they unite, they bring Torah into the world. So, unity, great thing. Definitely strive for it. If you've got an issue in the world, don't just complain about it on social media. Don't just blog about it or put something up on Facebook. Reach out to people, convince them of the idea, and build a movement. Do something if you really, really want it. Don't just get angry. Don't just get reactionary. And don't just get swept up in a passion. Because one leads to destruction and one leads to real, permanent change. So may you have the clarity to see the difference and affect real change in the world. Good Shabbos.